evening, fam. Welcome to Uniquely You. This is a channel where we're all about life, about business, and all things unique. Thank you for being here tonight. I do hope that you're keeping well. I hope you're happy. I hope you're sane. Mental wellness is one of the key things during this season. And I know many of us are having different challenges, but keep strong. Be uniquely you. Now, this has been one of the weeks where I think we all have our low moments, and this is one of those weeks where I didn't feel like doing anything. I was singing that song in my head. Today I don't feel like doing anything. Yes, that's where I was. I just wanted to lay in my bed and sit and do nothing. Go into that nothing box, if you know what it is. But after much thought and thinking about our focus for this week, something kept on playing back in my head, and I know it's very close to my heart, this topic for purpose, knowing your why and discovering your why, because all of us, that is our journey. Now, when I was thinking about this topic, what came to my mind is actually passion, because last week when we looked at purpose, there's something you go through by the time you get to your purpose. That is the process. You know, you go through a certain process, and I left my story hanging last week. I didn't finish on that story, and I had mentioned when I was in primary school how I repeated a class, and I went there. I felt embarrassing. My esteem went down. All those things happened. Yeah, though I didn't think about them much later until I became an adult or something. That's when I started thinking about these things, and you realize that some of your past things are defining moments, and they affect you. So you're the one who chooses for them to affect you positively or negatively. So when I left, I went to high school. Yes, I joined the choir. We used to do all those things. I learned about different things, more about music. Then when I left high school, now I started in the music ministry with Kenya for Christ. So when I was there, we used to also tour around singing. And while touring around, we used to set up equipment. And that's where I also got the love now, what I'm doing in events, of setting up sound, setting up lighting, and setting up all these other types of event gear. So again, the passion, music, grew into something else. I wasn't singing, now I was setting up things, and it grew into something else. So I left Kenya for Christ. I started working. The thing about when you get into the job market, sometimes your focus shifts because you become so intertwined with what you are doing. We really confuse, and a friend of mine said it very well. We confuse our job and our work. Your job is what you are employed to do. Your work is your purpose. No one can take your purpose away from you. That's one thing I loved, and he said it very well. No one can steal your purpose. You can fire me from my job. You can't fire me from my purpose. I am the only one who can just lose my way. And the most important thing I discovered about this is the how, which is a passion. There's always a process to getting somewhere. And the problem with our world today is we do not see the process. We just see someone start at A and we see point Z. And so for me, when I started working, I turned that thing I thought was my passion, I turned it into a business. And that is now I started my events business. That is right after I got married. I started my events business. So I've been running it for the last 10 years. 12. But to be honest with you, when you're working and you're doing, and I digress, when you're working and you're doing a business, you have to be very careful how you're running your business, because the moment it becomes your core thing, you will be starting over again. Your systems and processes are very important, and how you run your business. Just because you're working doesn't mean you have to charge cheaply. I digress. So when I started my business, I discovered I used to sing in weddings. So I sang in so many weddings. I went into studios, recorded, did background vocals. I met so many musicians. I started knowing people. And I discovered every time I sang in all those weddings, and this is the honest truth, I only went back. It's a friend's wedding, one wedding that I actually asked them to show me the video. I never wanted to see myself after I have sung. And I think in my psyche, I thought I was never good enough. So even when I sang and I'm seeing people clapping, I'm like, what are you clapping for? Na hakuna kitu nimefanya, So I used to second guess myself a lot. So someone asked me, Martin, how do I know that I am passionate about something? And this is how I discovered I am passionate about music, about equipment, about gear, Because this is the one thing that people used to come to me for advice for. Martin, how do I set up this? Martin. And I discovered I had another talent, which is creative. I used to be very creative and get good ideas for setups and all that. And that became our slogan and our motto, where we activate your brand through creative events concepts. And that became now Martin. I was the face of the company and we were running along with it with my wife. And I discovered when we are doing business and I'm employed, you have to learn how to strike a balance. And again, you also have a family. Those are three things you're trying to balance. It is a tough place to be in if you don't know how to balance it effectively. Because I'd never gotten any training. No one trained me how to run a business. It's only in my training when I was employed. No one taught me how to be a husband. No one taught me how to be a father. So most of these things we are just learning as we go. Trial and error, making mistakes, standing up and continuing. So when this person asked me how do I know that I am passionate about something, I looked at three things that came up from my journey. Because even when I stopped singing, and I used to sing, even with big guys used to come invite me, come sing. We used to go for karaoke. And karaoke was like the main thing them days, you know. And I met so many people and I made so many good friends when we were doing our karaoke thing. And if you want to know you're passionate about something, there are three key things I picked up. And that is, number one, what are you chasing? What are you chasing? What are you pursuing? There's that one thing that you're always after. But then maybe it might not be making you money, but you're just after this thing. There's something you are pursuing all the time. I discovered I was all around musicians, I was around studios, I was around event gigs where people are setting up. That in itself should have given me a feeling of what I'm doing, you know. Along the way, remember I said I started training. So I was wondering, how did that training aspect of it come into the aspect of events? So whatever I was pursuing was I was around all these things and all these people who are doing events and anything to do with events and setups. But that in itself, if it is not enough for you to know that you're passionate about something, I discovered there's that one thing I was always sacrificing for. So what is it that you're sacrificing for? Because there's a very strong correlation between sacrifice and your passion. There's a very strong correlation between what you sacrifice for and your passion. Because what are you sacrificing for? Is it your time? Is it your energy? Is it your resources? And that's something you need to think hard. And when you look back and you discover, by the way, there's always that one thing that is consistent I'm always sacrificing for, though it's not giving me back monetary, but I don't feel anything. I do it with my whole being. I don't think that I'm spending money and all that. And that was me. Buying a lot of gadgets. I was just a gadget man, having things to do with, you know, equipment, events. I had a ton of things. You can even tell just right behind me. These are things I unearthed from 10 years ago. I couldn't even believe they are working, you know. So, and the third thing was how you discover that, how you know you're passionate about something is, what are you intimate with? Intimacy. Intimacy comes in different ways, and I'm not meaning the intimacy of the man and woman, but intimacy happens behind the scenes. But after intimacy, because there's conception, what is birthed after is what people see. So right now, when I am doing those events and I'm setting up, what is it that people see in me when I'm setting up? They're like, "Any Mato, you just love doing this." Because even when someone starts asking me a question about events or about training, you will just see someone glow and they start talking and talking and talking and talking. You're like, "Hey, okay, so I just asked one question. Hey, you like talking a lot." And I discovered now that is the thing I love doing. When people are telling you, there's that one thing, I just ask a yes or no. Oh, naingia deep into explanation. So there's something that is birthed when you're intimate with a particular thing. And it might be anything. There are people who have OCD. There are people who, there's something that invokes a certain feeling in them. There are people who get a creative juice when they're intimate with a particular thing. So there are different kinds of intimacy. So it's for you to explore. And that's what I was saying, for you to discover, to know that you're passionate about something. Yeah, pursue. What are you pursuing? What are you sacrificing for? And what are you intimate with? So in my journey, up to the time when I was working, and then I now stopped singing in weddings for some reason, and I've tried thinking in my head, why did I stop at some point? Why did I stop? And remember I spoke last week about consistency in a particular thing. I used to sing, I started going to studios and all that. Then I just stopped. So guys are like, Mato, you had very good talent in this area. What happened? And it's something I've been asking myself. And I thank God I'm also going back to that place again where there's something that God gives you. Unless you take it away, it cannot be taken away from you. And that's why I said, no one can steal your purpose. No one can fire you from your work. They can fire you from your job. Okay, so how do I ignite my passion? And that's the question I kept on asking myself. How do I reignite or ignite? You might not have passion for anything. You want to ignite. And there's someone who had a passion, you want to reignite. Number one is enjoying the journey. There's nothing as bad as you're passionate about something but you don't enjoy that journey. Because there's one enemy of passion, and that is frustration. I spoke about this last week. When you're frustrated about something you're always doing. Remember I said I started getting creative juices. I was very creative, coming up with concepts, ideas. Because all of those things revolved around entertainment, purely entertainment. Because I was in studios, I was singing, I loved training, and training what people, a certain kind of generation, you know. So I was around entertainment mostly. So I started getting that creative juice, coming up with concepts and ideas. It becomes frustrating when you present to people. They use your ideas, but they don't credit you for those ideas. So your ideas are used by other people. You just see them working elsewhere. So it became frustrating. So you have to enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. That's the most important thing. Because if you don't enjoy that process, you will never realize the end result, which is knowing your purpose. Okay? So what you do is important. But how you do it is also very important. And the point number 2 for how to ignite your passion is determine your uniqueness. What is that thing, the uniqueness? What is that strength? What is that voice that you have? And then you start introducing it to the world. When you determine your strength, your uniqueness, your voice, and then you start bringing it to the world, there's nothing like having a hidden passion. We're not talking about relationships. The hidden passion where you're doing something, but you're doing it under your blankets. No one knows. Yeah, and I'm passionate about music, but no one has ever seen me sing. No one has heard me sing anywhere. I'm not recorded anywhere. I'm not visible anywhere. You know. So when you look at that thing that is unique about you, that your voice, your uniqueness, your strength, and bring it out to the world. Now, when you do it consistently, you start becoming good at that particular thing. Yeah, that's how you start igniting your passion. But there's one thing we mention all the time, even from entrepreneurship and all these things, is find a mentor. There's someone who's been where you are, and that person will be able to guide you through your journey. And there are experiences that captivate you. There are experiences that move your heart. What were these things that actually gave you that spark? Then you start thinking, oh, but there's something that I used to do that used to ignite my spark and my purpose. So look at those things and ask yourself, how do I now come back and ignite my passion? And it's never too late. The worst thing about the issue of mentors is, even in Kenya today, today I spent a whole lot of time going through Google and YouTube, trying to see who are the good mentors in Kenya. Not even Africa, not the world, just in Kenya. Who are the good mentors who are out there that can actually guide you, and they are passionate about that thing that you're passionate about. And the worst thing is, all I could see, like I'm saying, top 40 or top 40 under 40 or top 50 over 50. I'm not saying anyone. They're just listing for you people from Europe. I don't know who did what. Henry Ford invented this. I don't know. You want to tell me there's no one in Kenya who has pursued their purpose? There are very many. The only problem is we never see their process because they have never publicized their process. We only see the start and the end. And that's why we always criticize people. Because you find Kenyans, they see someone who's wealthy, they are like, there are only two things hapa. Huyu anauza madawa, ama alienda, kuna mtu lazima alikufa ndio yeye apate hizi vitu. You know, so we are always negative about people's successes. Why? Is because we never saw their process. And again, a question I ask myself, these people who are successful, why don't they even put a memoir or write about their successes for someone to appreciate a journey? And I saw a vlog last month of this guy. He's famous musician and he's wealthy. But people are saying this guy does drugs. But when he came to that vlog and started talking about his journey, I respected that guy 100-fold. He was so inspiring. I was inspired. And I'm like, wow, that's all he went through. So these guys who are saying you do drugs and it's because people cook up stories, because that's social media. You know, social media can make or break you. But he chose to be uniquely him, and he went on with his life. And one day he said he's going to tell his story, and that was the one day. And let me tell you, I was inspired. He's younger than me, but this guy has done exploits, and he's wealthy. But you see, we don't have so many stories like those ones because they are not being publicized. So when you equate wealth with ill-gotten wealth every time you see someone on media. So for me today, I just like to say, pursue your passion. Pursue the passion that you have, and you have to create intimacy with that passion. And even if you're creating intimacy, you have to sacrifice for it. There's nothing that comes easy. Let's teach our generation that nothing comes easy, and the next generation to know, to appreciate and value the process. Because I will value what you value. If you don't bring yourself as a person who has values, I will take you how you bring yourself towards me. So when you are a unique person, and for me I always say, being uniquely you means not giving up on yourself. Not anyone else, not giving up on yourself, and keeping head on. And as I close, there's this guy I used to work with. And this guy, where I was working, he had applied for that job 50 times. Always getting rejections. And I asked the guy, how did you apply here 15 times? And he said, you know what, Mato? I wanted to be there. I was passionate about that job. And finally, this guy got the letter. 15 times. Most of us will do something how many times? Once, and you give up. Do not give up on yourself. Don't give up on your passion. Don't give up on your purpose. Pursue it, and you will be uniquely you. Uniquely you means not giving up on yourself. Thank you, and have a great and a blessed evening. This is Uniquely You, the channel where we are all about life, business, and all things unique.